So, student, in last class we were discussing about various types of sliding contact bearings, right? We have also started discussing the different materials for the bearings. Then we have started the discussing on rolling contact bearing, that is anti-friction bearing. Okay. Now we have also seen the types of rolling contact bearing based on the rolling element. That is, first is, you can say, the ball bearings that we aware with, and second is rolling bearings. Now we also seen the rolling contact bearings depending upon how the load is applied. It may be the radial load bearing roller bearings, and second is thrust roller contact bearings. Okay. Then we also try to classify the bearings based on the construction, that is a single row filling notch bearings, angular bearings, then self-aligning bearings, double row bearings, and lastly we were discussing on thrust bearing, right? Then at the last moment we were discussing about the standard designation or dimensions of bearings, right? In which we were discussing that the bearings may be classified into the extra light bearing, medium, and the heavy series, right? We also seen the how the number is designated, right? So last two digit from 04 onwards, when multiplied by the 5, will give the bore diameter. That means this is the case, right? Let's say you have a 405. Okay, so last digit, if you multiply it, it's going to give you 25. So 25 will be the inner diameter, that is, you can say, shaft diameter or the bore diameter of the bearings. Now similarly, the third digit, that is this one, will give you the series of bearings, whether it is subjected to medium bearing or heavy bearings, right? Now today we are going to discuss the types of roller bearings. Now see, here it is roller bearings, not the ball bearings. Okay. Roller is basically cylindrical component having circular cross section and having certain length, right? If we discuss the ball geometry, it is spherical in nature. Okay. Now these two are the rolling element in the roller contact bearings. So at this moment we are discussing about the types of roller bearings. Now first is cylindrical roller bearings. Just look at the figure. It's very simple in construction. Instead of using the steel ball, we are using the roller. Okay. Here the roller having constant cross section. That is, the circular diameter is maintained throughout the length. These bearings have very short rollers guided in a cage. This is the construction. This yellow type of is what? Cage, in which the spacing of roller is maintained using this cage. Okay. These bearings are rigid against radial load. See, try to read the statements. They're giving you some informations, right? So these roller bearings are basically rigid in construction. They can take very good amount of radial load and have the lowest coefficient of friction of any form of heavy duty rolling contact bearing. Means they offer minimum frictions, right? Also they are going to take heavy load. So you'll find that all the heavy automobile trucks, you can say, load carrying transport vehicle, they are using this kind of roller contact bearings. Okay, because they provide minimum coefficient of frictions and also able to take the heavy load. Okay, such type of bearings are used in high speed applications. They cannot take the thrust load. This is the disadvantage. Okay, but what is advantage? They can be used for the high speed applications. Okay, let's say industrial, you can say the industrial application, rotating the yarn bobbin, you can say, where it required very heavy speed, 4000 6000 rpm, right? That they can use it. But the disadvantage, they cannot take the thrust load. It is not designed for the taking the thrust load. And tolerate misalignment. Even slight misalignment or due to the load is not tolerable by these bearings, because immediately there will be some deformation in the bearing and it will malfunction, right? It also generate more noise. This is again disadvantage. Now second is spherical roller bearings. Now shape is simply, instead of having plain cylindrical, it is made little bit spherical. The outer surface are basically having the curvy natures, right? Just look at the figure. This is a plain figure of cylindrical roller, and this is second is spherical roller. The only difference is the outer geometry is basically having a bulging section, or you can say the concave shape. Okay. Now these bearings are self-aligning bearings. Look at the actual figures. They are called as self-aligning bearings. Why? The self-aligning feature is achieved by grinding one of the recesses. One of the recesses means rings, outer ring and inner ring. This they are talking about, right? This inner recess in the form of sphere can tolerate angular misalignment in the order of 1.5 degree plus minus. That means if the shaft is simply lifted like this, let's say this is the upward deflections. So this upward deflection will be limited to maximum 1.5 degree, right? It may go downward side, right? In that case, this will be the misalignment, right? So there will be a plus minus of 1.5 degree misalignment is tolerable due to this kind of geometrical construction that is spherical. Okay. And when used with the double roller, this can carry thrust load in either directions. So mostly you will find in heavy trucks, they are using basically double roller contact bearings in the form of either the spherical, sometimes in the form of, you can say the taper roller. Okay. So whenever there is a requirement of bearing the thrust load in either direction, this is the best options to utilize. That is spherical roller bearings. Now third is needle roller bearings. Now what is needle? How you identify a needle? Needle is having very small diameter and is having a very good amount of length with respect to the diameter. So these bearings are relatively slender. Slender means हम बोलते तो पतली बोलते हैं उसको. Slender means लंबाई में ज़्यादा और चौड़ाई में क्या है कम, उसको बोलते हैं slender. Okay, and completely fill the space so that neither the cage or nor the return is needed. See, this is what the construction benefit. It is fill the surfaces, right? It fill the surface between the outer and inner is in such a manner it does not require. It fills the space so that neither cage or nor retainer is required. These bearings are used when heavy loads are to be carried with oscillatory motion. Oscillatory means like this, left and right, right? That is piston bearings in heavy duty diesel engines, right? So they are using these needle bearings. Why needle bearing are used? Because they are more in numbers. Okay, because of more in number, more load or contact area is there. So you can apply as per the stress definition, force upon area. If you have a larger area, contact area, it can take more load for the given safe stress value, right? So hence the needle roller bearing can take the heavy loads, and they are using diesel engines. Now fourth is tapered roller bearings. Look at the figure. Here we have the shape of the rolling element is in the form of taper, right? The rollers and raceways of these bearings are truncated cones whose element intersect at the common point, right? Now just look at the actual figure. So here what we have is this cage. If you extend them, they are going to be a cone shape. Just try to understand, right? Let me draw in manner. These are your bearings like this. If you extend them, they are going to meet at a common point. Here what is written, right? So this rolling element, which is also having a taper shape. So their common point, if you extend that cone, so the cone apex will be a common point. Such type of bearing can carry both radial as well as a thrust load. So this is the best application of taper roller bearing, where it can take because of taper surface, you can apply radial load, you can apply the thrust load. Okay, so this is a great advantage of using the taper roller bearing. Whenever you get chance to visit any garage where it is heavy vehicles are being repaired, or the engine is opened up, right, for the maintenance purpose, just try to see carefully the wheel assembly, right? There you will find the various types of bearings where there you find the use of these bearings. Try to carefully observe which kind of different bearings are used in automobile, right? Now the selection criteria of anti-friction bearing. Now, why we have written selection criteria? Selection means the bearing itself is considered as a standard component, right? It is manufactured by the companies and it is readily available in different sizes, right? So most of the time you have to choose it. So that's why we are calling it selection criteria of anti-friction bearings. Now, anti-friction bearing means it may be the ball bearings, maybe the roller bearing, because these are the two rolling element. So both are commonly termed as anti-friction bearings, right? So how can you select it? First, what is the space available? You have to consider whether it is a radial space available or axial space available. Based on that, you have to choose the anti-friction bearings, right? If it is large column is available, housing is available, and machine itself is very heavy and heavy load is coming up, then you have to use the thrust roller bearings or maybe the simple roller bearings. It should have a sufficient width so it can be fitted in the housing, right? So you have to consider what is the space available. Second, what kind of type of load is acting, whether it is purely radial or thrust load or combined, and what is the value? What level of value is coming out? Is it in terms of simply few newtons or it in terms of mega newtons, right? So it is very important questions, right? You must know the what is the load and its type and its value. Then what is the speed at which you are going to rotate the machines, or you require to allow the machine to be rotated with the maximum load carrying capacity. So limiting speed you must know. That is, if you have chosen the simple ball bearing, then you have chosen the needle bearing, then you have chosen the taper roll bearing. Now each of these rolling contact bearings have a different limit speed, right? So you have to consider based on your application requirement. Let's say just recall your blender at home, right? Just recall blender at home. Blender rotated at very high speed, even in mixie you can say. So there is a two double roller bearings are used, right? So because it has to rotate only in one directions, right? There is no possibility of other plane of rotation, right? So there the speed is important. So you have to choose accordingly, right? You cannot use the taper roller bearing in that case because there is no heavy load is coming. You have to use simply a ball bearings of certain diameter, right? Which allow you to rotate at very high speed, okay? Now, fourth point is permissible misalignment. Now, see, let's take the case of cement mixture machines, right? Let's say it's rotated like this, it having wheel over here, right? And there is going to be a drum kind of construction, right? And it is supported over here, okay? So here we simply mix the materials, right? Now batch is in terms of 2 bags of cement or maybe the 2 bags of sands and other things, right? So that weighs much weight is coming up vertically downward, right? So it is around 150 kg, okay? So this 150 kg is too much load. So when you rotate these mixture machines, the load is acting downward. So this shaft need to be supported in the bearing, or you can say the ball bearing, or you can simply the roller contact bearing. Now because load, this shaft is going to deflect. That deflection is carry forward to the bearing itself, right? It reaches to the bearing. Bearing has to take care of this misalignment, okay? This is going to happen because of the gravity load or the load of this material itself. So that misalignment is going to happen, but the bearing must be able to handle it. So if this is the case where there is a possibility of deflection of shaft due to the applied load conditions, then you must choose what is the possibility of misalignment. Is it supported by the bearings or not? Let's say earlier what we have seen that which kind of bearing is allowed, that is spherical roller bearing is going to tolerate the misalignment, that is angular deviation is possible to handle it, right? So then you have to choose it. That is the only candidate. Now fourth point is ease of maintenance. Now if you use plain bearings, let's say plain bearings, right, where there is no rolling element, then the maintenance is quite difficult, right? But if you choose the anti-friction bearings, once you fix it up, you hardly require some lubrications, okay? Because it is close by both the sides, so there is not much chances of getting the dust particle inside it in the rolling element, right? So it gives you more service life. You do not have to go for the frequent lubrications, right? So how easily you can maintain the bearings? It's one of the point of the selection criteria. Now the another point is operating temperature. Now all the machines are not operating at the environmental condition. Some of the machines are handling the very high pressure fluid or maybe the hot fluid, right? Even they are rotating it, right? So that heat transfer to the rolling element, that is, I mean to say, the bearings. In that case, the bearing must be able to dissipate this heat. Otherwise, what will happen, we will know that the metal upon heating will expand, and because of expansion, chances are there that space between this outer race and inner race will increases, right? Or maybe the if only the inner race is getting heated because of the direct contact of the shaft or heated shaft, it will expand and try to compress this rolling element. It will jam the bearings, right? So bearing material must be able to dissipate the heat faster. So thermal conductivity of the material has to be of very high importance. So you need to consider what is the operating temperature of the machines or the environment, right, in which we are going to use the bearing. And the last point is expected life of bearing. Now, what is this? Let's say you have started your water pump, right, at home, right? You have started water pump. Now it's a pump, it's armature, rotation, bearing is there, and the left side and right side. If you keep it switch on for 1 month, it's a virtual condition, right? You cannot keep the water pump 1 month continuously running at home, right? But there are pumps which run continuously in nuclear power plant, right? So design of those pumps are quite different. The material used, bearing selected for those pumps are quite different, right? So here it is minimum service life is expected from the bearing. Let's say if the bearing is run for at least continuously for 1 year, it must survive at least 300 days. इसका क्या मतलब, अगर हम आज फैन शुरू करते हैं अपने घर में, तो एटलीस्ट कम से कम इतने दिन तक चलना चाहिए बिना रुके. आई रिपीट, बिना रुके. अगर ऐसा होता है, अगर बेरिंग फेल नहीं होती है, देन वी आर गोइंग टू गेट इट इज़ मीटिंग द एक्सपेक्टेड लाइफ. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आज हमने मशीन शुरू किया और 10 दिन के बाद बेरिंग क्या हो गई, फेल हो गई, राइट, हीट हो गई या फिर जाम हो गई. सो दैट मीन्स व्हाट, यू bearing must offer minimum bearing life. Okay, now let's try to understand various definitions used in designing of bearings. Okay, and that will help us to find a numerical solution. Now first term used in selection of anti-bearing bearing is life. Now life, what we has meaning is how many years you have lived, right? How many years a human lives, that we call it life, right? But here in terms of bearings, the life of an individual ball or simply a roller bearing may be defined as the number of revolutions, how many revolutions it rotates, or hours at the some given constant speed. Let's say it is rotating 400 rpm. Machine is rotating at 400 rpm constantly with carrying fixed load, right? So which bearing runs before the first evidence of fatigue develops in a material of one of the rings or any of the rolling element. So here क्या कर रहे हैं, is trying to say how many revolution a bearing completes or how many hours it rotates at constant speed. This is important because life is associated with the running speed and load applied on the bearings, right? So at fixed constant load and the rotating RPM, how many hours it can covers before any sign of fractures, right? So that number of revolution or maybe the hours is termed as life. So generally the bearing are selected for the life about 8,000 hours to the 20,000 hours continuously. So if you divide this 8,000 by 24 hours, it is equal to 3,300 days. So a bearing must continuously work for 3,300 days for a given constant load and constant speed. Sometimes bearings may require to satisfy these situations. That is 20,000 hours, which is equal to almost 2.2 years of continuous service. Right? Continuous. I said continuous. It is not one hour, then switch off for the whole day, then again 1 hour. Then otherwise that bearing going to work for the whole life. Right? Here we are talking about a continuous operating situation, right? Under the fixed speed and the constant load. So it must survive at least this, it must offer at least 8,000 of, or maybe the up to the 20,000, or it must complete 10⁶ revolution, which is equal to 10 lakhs, right? So कहने का मतलब क्या है कि बेरिंग को क्या करना है, कम से कम 10 लाख बार उसको घूमना पड़ेगा बिफोर एनी साइन ऑफ फ्रैक्चर और क्रैक, either in rolling element or in a ring, outer ring or inner ring. Okay, this is defined as life, because replacing the bearing frequently is not advisable. It is not affordable by the companies because they have to stop the machines, right? Bearing is always going to be a crucial component, so it has to offer certain service life. So minimum is 8, maximum is expected it, you can say the 20,000 hours, right? That's why in industry we have maintenance schedules. In maintenance schedule, all of these things are being checked, right? Just imagine the case of nuclear power plant, right? Where the nuclear reactor is continuously supplying the power to the whole countries, right? It is always been heated by the nuclear rods, right? So to control the temperature of this nuclear core, a continuously cold water is circulated by these water pumps. So these water pumps are 24 hours operated, right? It is not shut down for just for the rest, right? It is continuously working. So just imagine the bearings used in that, right? So in those applications, bearing expected to work at least 20,000 hours, right? Even more. But this is the limit. Then they simply have a scheduled maintenance, right? Then they shut down it, they will replace the bearing or replace the whole pump, right? So they do have a standby pump, राइट? ऐसा नहीं है कि एक ही पंप है, 2 3 4 लगे रहते हैं. सो इफ इट इज़ वन इज डाउन, सेकेंड इज गोइंग टू वर्क. But so during maintenance, the electric supply is continue, right? So they do have a reactor 1, 2, 3, 4. So if 1, 3 is working conditions, they shut it down, and 2 and 4 is working condition, right? They cannot operate continuously 4 reactor at a time, right? So they have switching maintenance schedule, right? 1, 3, 2, 4. Now, what is rating life? The rating life of a group of apparently identical ball bearings. Now here rating life. Here we are talking about only single bearings. Okay. Here we are talking about the group of bearings which are identical in shape. Looks like a same, right? Diameter may vary, but if you are considering the ball bearings, then you have to talk about the rating life of ball bearings only, right? So rating life of a group of apparently identical balls or roller bearing is defined as the number of revolution or hours at some given constant speed that 90% of the group of bearings will complete or exceed before the first evidence of fatigue develop. That means what? Only 10% group of bearing will fail. Let's say you have 50 bearings in your groups, right? So out of which 90% means 45 must complete 10 lakhs of revolution or the given life, let's say 8,000 hours, just for understanding. So 90% of the group of bearing if met this requirement, and that is called rated life, right? Means 10% bearing is going to fail. This is also referred as, the term referred as minimum life is also used to denote the rating life, right? So sometimes in designing book it is written as L10. So 10 means what? 10% is allowed to fail, but the 90% of the bearing of that group must meet the life requirement. It must complete the number of revolutions or the hours of service at constant speed. Now another term is, student, do not confuse, simply try to hear by the speech and try to understand what is written. Average life or median life. It is defined as number of revolution or simply number of hours at a given constant speed that 50%. Earlier it was 90%, right? So which was written as L10. Here in average life, only 50% of the bearing you have to consider will complete or exceed before the first evidence of fatigue. Okay, so you can say if you consider the 50 bearings and 50% of that is 25 bearings. So 25 bearing must satisfy the life requirement. They should not produce any kind of crack or fatigue sign on their rolling element or maybe the races, right? So it is known as a average life. It is referred as L50. Okay. So average life is equal to rating life into 5. So this is simple equation. To find out the average life, you have to multiply the rating life by 5, or maybe the if average life is given to you, then if you can divide it to get the rating life. For the practical purpose, L10 life is most widely used term to define the life of bearings, right? So here 50%, you can say the bearing of a group must satisfy the criteria. So earlier in L10 definition, that is a rated life definition, there the 90% group of bearing need to satisfy the criteria. So mostly the L10 is widely used in numerical. Now the another term is static load rating and dynamic load capacity. Okay. Now what is static means? The static load carrying capacity means load value is not changing. Load is fixed. Load is fixed. It is not changed with respect to time. Of a bearing is defined as the static load which correspond to a total permanent deformation of a balls and a recess at most heavily stressed point of contact equal to .0001 of the ball diameter. इसका क्या मतलब है कि बेरिंग्स है हमारे पास, यहाँ पे बॉल्स है, ठीक है, हम उसके ऊपर लोड अप्लाई कर रहे हैं. वो लोड जो है दैट लोड इज़ नॉट चेंजिंग, इट इज़ देयर, बट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट द डिफॉर्मेशन दैट यू ऑब्जर्व will be equal to the this much times of ball diameter. So that is the minimum load is allowed or maximum load is allowed under the static load conditions. Let's say you are filling the cement mixture machines, right? It is, you are not operating it. It is stationary. You are filling it with the cement bag and the sand bag. So this is stationary situations or static condition. In that case, the deformation of ball should not be more than this percentage, that is .001, even heavily stress point. So that time whatever load you are carrying, that capacity is called static load capacity, right? Should be equal to .001, deformation should be equal to .001 of ball diameter. Okay, now what is dynamic capacity then? The load carrying capacity of bearing at its maximum speed. See here the word is written, when the bearing operate at maximum speed, at that time the load that you are applying on the bearing safely without any failure situations, that will be termed as dynamic capacity, and the expected life is known as the dynamic capacity, right? Here the bearing basically does support the load, but the life, how many hours or how many revolution it can sustain under the given loading situation, is defined as the rating. If bearing is not rotating, then it is referred as static load rating. If the bearing is rotating at maximum speed and safely, so that maximum speed, whatever load you are able to apply safely without any failure, which will give you the bearing life, that is referred as dynamic capacity. Okay. So when the element or bearing rotates, its load carrying capacity is varying. When the bearing is stops, it is not in motion. At that time, its load carrying capacity is different. Right. So at stationary condition, when it is not in motion, that rating is referred as static load, but it is defined like that. It's the load carrying capacity of bearing is defined as the static load which correspond to the total permanent deformation of balls on the recess at the most heavily stressed point of a contact equal to .001. Right. If it is more than that, it is crossing the limit, it is getting failed, right? So deformation should be equal to this much of percentage of ball diameter. So whatever safely load you are able to apply at that condition, it is called static load. But in case of dynamic capacity, what will happen? You have to rotate the bearing at maximum speed. At that time, the load that you are applying on a bearing or the load supporting the, bearing supporting the load, that safe load will be termed as dynamic capacity, right? How much load you can apply without creating any failure sign. Now the another term is basic dynamic load rating. I know student it is little bit getting confusing because all these are it's a term itself is a confuse you, right? But let me put it in a simple way. Basic dynamic load rating. It is defined as the constant stationary radial load which a group of apparently identical bearings with stationary outer race can withstand for rating life of 1 million revolution of inner races. Now what exactly is this? Here we expect that the bearing life is L10. That means 90% of the group must complete at least 10 to 6 revolution because generally bearing rotates, right? So we are going to count the bearing life in terms of revolution. So each bearing must complete at least 10 lakhs of revolutions. Okay, 10 lakhs of revolutions. Now in which condition? The bearing, the outer recess must be stationary. It is fixed in housing. The inner one must rotate. So in these situations, whatever load you applying, right? And you are getting the L10 service life. That referred as basic dynamic load rating. It is termed as C, right? Here the 90% bearing of a group has to survive. Okay. Here it is written radial load, no any other load. Whenever there is radial load is coming on the bearing and 90% of the bearing survives, that load capacity is referred as basic dynamic load rating, right? C. Now what is equivalent? Equivalent dynamic load P. Now normally the rolling contact bearings are subjected to both radial and axial loads. You will see that, okay, if you happen to got a chance to see how the actually the bearing fitted and how it works, right? So normally it is subjected to both kind of load combined together. So considering both equivalent load, radial load, so considering both equivalent load, radial load is determined based on which its dynamic load rating is decided. So let me put in different thing, right? So let's say this is radial load RL. Let's say this is thrust load. Now if you can find a equivalent radial load, right? I convert this thrust load, effect of thrust load in terms of radial load and only simply take only one component of radial load, which is a combined effect of pure radial load plus the thrust load. So here it is written, considering both the equivalent radial load, considering both, we are finding equivalent radial load determined based on its dynamic rating capacity. That is means this one. Now why we are doing this? Equivalent dynamic load is defined as an imaginary constant radial load. This is not the actual load, it's an imaginary load for finding the mathematical solution, which if applied on the bearing with the rotating inner race. See, this is again condition. Outer race is going to fix, but inner is going to rotate. And the stationary outer race would give the same bearing life as do the actual applied on combined loading. तो यहाँ पे क्या मतलब है, अगर बेरिंग में थ्रस्ट लोड भी लग रहा है और रेडियल लोड भी लग रहा है, अगर उसकी बेसिक डायनेमिक कैपेसिटी फाइंड करनी है तो हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, दो लोड को एक में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा. सो वी आर कन्वर्टिंग द थ्रस्ट लोड एंड वी आर फाइंडिंग द इक्विवेलेंट रेडियल लोड्स, right? So equivalent dynamic load is defined as an imaginary constant radial load. It is imaginary constant radial load which if applied, अगर उसको हम applied करते हैं with the rotating inner race and the stationary outer race would give the same bearing life as would the actual the applied combined load. अगर दोनों साथ में लगा के जो बेरिंग की लाइफ मिलेगी वही लाइक हम अगर हम रेडियल लोड कंसिडर करके करेंगे इक्विवेलेंट रेडियल, तो उस इक्विवेलेंट लोड को क्या बोलेंगे, इक्विवेलेंट डायनामिक लोड कैपेसिटी, दैट इज P. So here in this equation, this relationship, the P is simply equivalent load in terms of newtons. Okay. Now what is basic dynamic capacity? That is C. That is capital C. Let's recall again what is basic dynamic load rating or capacity. sorry. So it is defined as constant stationary radial load. Student, please try to focus on the words, right? It is fixed stationary constant load which group of apparently identical bearings, मतलब एक जैसी जो बेरिंग लग रही है हमें, राइट, उसका डायमेंशंस अलग हो सकते हैं. सो we are going to apply this kind of a stationary load on those group of bearings. And because of that, if they survive by 10 raised to 6 revolution of rotations, right, that is 1 million, which is 10 lakh, then you can say the 90% of group of bearing must survive under this condition. That load that we applied in that condition is referred as basic dynamic load rating, right? So this relation is very important, that will connect you the load bearing capacity or load lifting capacity in working conditions. So mostly when the machine works, where the shaft are supported on bearings, you can say the load coming on the bearing is basically a fixed type. You can say static type. It does not vary by large value, right? So that's why it is very important to correlate the working condition, that is how much load is coming during rotations, what is expected service life, and what should be the actual service life, right? So as per the definition, here L10 is simply bearing life, that is 1 million revolution of 90% survival. That means, let's say what I'm trying to tell you is that bearing that you select for the operation must survive at least by 1 million revolution. उसका क्या मतलब है? जो भी बेरिंग आप लेंगे उसको कम से कम 10 लाख बार घूमना पड़ेगा. ये उसकी एक्सपेक्टेड डिज़ाइन बेरिंग लाइफ है. वैसे ही हम बेरिंग पसंद करेंगे, ठीक है, लेकिन एक्चुअल कंडीशन अलग हो सकती है. बेरिंग मे नॉट रन कंटिन्यूसली फॉर 10 lakhs ऑफ रेवोल्यूशन, इट मे रन इंटरमिटेंटली. आप समझ लो कभी कंपनी जो चल रही है सुबह 8 से शाम को 8 चल रही है, ठीक है, रात को बंद है, फिर से दूसरे दिन स्टार्ट होगी, पब्लिक हॉलीडे पे वो बंद रहेगी. सो द वर्किंग कंडीशन इज वेरिंग, बट द डिज़ाइन कंडीशन इज दैट it should run 1 million revolution. If this is the case, what should be the actual working life? That is L, right? So expected bearing life in million revolution in actual working condition. So this relation is giving you some hint that the design capacity in terms of life is given. So what should be the expected life in actual practice? If basic dynamic capacity is given to you, what should be the equivalent load you can apply by combining the effect of thrust load and axial load, right? So this equation is very important to find out the expected life in actual working condition by considering the basic load rating, which is design capacity, and actual equivalent load, which is actually coming on the bearings, right? Now here, the K is basically bearing constant. So, થોડો પાર્ટ ગુજરાતીમાં તમને બોલી દઉં એટલે તમને થોડી તકલીફ ના પડે. આ ઇક્વેશન એવું કહેવા માંગે છે કે 4 ટર્મ છે, રાઈટ, સી, પી, એલ અને L10. આ L10 અને સી આ થિયોરિટિકલ પાર્ટ છે. આપણે એવું માનીએ છીએ કે બેરિંગ જે છે એના ઉપર જે સ્ટેટિક લોડ આપણે લગાવીશું તો ગ્રુપની 90% બેરિંગ એ સહન કરવી પડશે એને. 90% જે બેરિંગ છે એમને સક્સેસફુલી એ લોડ સહન કરવો પડશે. ક્યાં સુધી? 10 લાખ અથવા 1 મિલિયન રેવોલ્યુશન સુધી, રાઈટ. સો ધીસ સી ઇઝ અ ડિઝાઇન લોડ, theoretical design load expected, and this L10 is a service life, right? So this is in terms of Newton and this is in terms of revolution, okay? But this capital L and capital P are representing the actual load condition. બેરિંગ તમે એને વાપરશો તો એના ઉપર લોડ વધારે પણ નહીં આવે, પણ ઓછો આવશે અને ઓછા કલાક માટે કામ કરશે. કામ કરવાનું છે, માની લે કે ભાઈ 8 થી 8ની શિફ્ટ છે, રાઈટ, 8 to 8. દેન વોટ? તો કેટલા કલાક સુધી એ બેરિંગ ચાલશે, કેટલી સર્વિસ લાઈફ તમને મળશે. અથવા ઉલટું પણ કરી શકે કે બેરિંગને હું 22 કલાક ચલાવું છું એવરી ડે, 2 કલાક જ બંધ રાખું છું, તો હું એના ઉપર આપેલી કન્ડિશનમાં કેટલા ન્યૂટન લોડ આપી શકું, રાઈટ. સો ઇટ કોરિલેટ the applied load with the service life. So this equation help us to find out what maximum load you can apply for given working hours, right? તો આ ઇક્વેશન એવું કહે છે કે તમે લોડ વધારશો તો સર્વિસ લાઈફ ઓછી થશે, તમે લોડ ઓછો કરશો તો વધારે સર્વિસ લાઈફ મળશે. આવું કંઈક રિલેશન તમને આપે છે અને આપણે ન્યુમેરિકલથી વધારે જોઈશું, રાઈટ? So let's try to solve some equations to understand what this equation says. Okay. So first numerical is, so basic load rating for the selected bearing is 50 kilonewton. Let's try to understand what is given. Basic load rating, that is C is given. What does it mean? You can apply 50 kilonewton stationary load, which must be bared by 90% of bearing. So this is standard. Okay, you can say a standard load is given. It is something like a safe limit stress, right? So this much load, static load, you can apply on group of bearing. Now what is again? If the expected bearing life is 6,000 hours, right? So what is expected bearing life? This L is given. Your bearing must work at least 6,000 hours continuously if it has started once, right? अगर एक बार शुरू कर दिया है तो उसको कम से कम expected bearing life उसको बोला L is 6,000 hours, right? Now calculate the permissible equivalent load, that is P, right? तो कितना इक्विवेलेंट लोड हम लगा सकते हैं जब स्टैटिक लोड बेरिंग कैपेसिटी 50 किलो न्यूटन है, बेरिंग को हमें चलाना है 6,000 आवर्स तक, तो हम कितना इक्विवेलेंट डायनेमिक लोड और इक्विवेलेंट लोड लगा सकते हैं, राइट? व्हेन द बेरिंग इज रोटेटिंग एट 500 RPM, दिस इज ऑल्सो अ इम्पॉर्टेंट पैरामीटर्स. इफ यू रोटेट बेरिंग फास्टर, इट्स सर्विस लाइफ विल बी लोअर. ओके, so here the RPM is given to us. Now this equation, that is C by P is equal to L upon L10 into 1 by K. Okay. Here L is given in terms of revolution. In terms of revolution. So L raised to 10 is taken as L10 is equal to taken as 10 raised to 6. यानी कि 10 लाख, 10 lakh revolution. Okay. Now here the expected life is given in terms of 6,000 hours. हमें उसको क्या करना पड़ेगा? कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा रेवोल्यूशन में, ठीक है? अब बेरिंग कितनी बार घूम रही है? इट इज रोटेटिंग 500 RPM. सो रोटेशन इज 500 revolution per minute. So in 1 minute it rotate 500 times. What if it is rotated by 6,000 hours? How many rotation it will complete, right? So we have to convert this. We have to convert this L in terms of revolution, right? So L here would be 6,000 hours. Let's convert into minutes. So 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Okay. So here, if you multiply this, what is answer? Can you tell me? Now this is all are in minutes. Okay. The expected service life is in terms of how much? 6,000 hours. We have to find out how many revolution it is going to complete in 6,000, because bearing rotate in 1 minute 500 times. So I can convert it, right? I can convert this. I can multiply by 6,000 hours by 60 minutes, right? And 1 minute it is rotating by 500 times. Okay. So this multiplication will give you some answer, right? So here I'm going to keep it as it is. So these are the number of revolutions that bearing is going to complete after rotating by 6,000 hours, right? So let's use the equation. So here C by P into L, L into L by K. Here it is a roller bearing, so K will be 3. Okay. So let's say C is how much it is? 50 kilonewton. So 50,000. Let's convert into Newton. We have to find out the equivalent load. So L is nothing, 6,000, 60 is a minute, and 500. At the bottom, what we have? 10 raised to 6. Okay, because L10 is taken as 10 lakhs. Now we have to take it the power 1 by 3. Okay, so here we can divide this 3 has 1, 4, 5, and 6, right? So 6 has gone. Okay, so what is left out? 50,000 divided by P into 6 into 6, 36, and into 5. Okay. So you can say it is comes out to be 183 by root 1 by 3. Now we can find this. How can we find the solution? Very simply, multiply by 3. You can take it by multiply by power by 3 times, right? So multiply each time. So you can cancel out, or you can use your calculator to find out the load value P. So here it comes out 8855, right? So this is your equivalent load, or in terms of kilonewton, it is 8.8 kilonewton load you can apply if you want to expect, if you are expecting 6,000 hours of service life, right? The basic load capacity is, dynamic capacity is how much? It is 50 kilonewton. Stationary load capacity is 50 kilonewton. But in actual practice, equivalent load we can apply under the 6,000 hours expectation service life by rotating the bearing at 500 RPM. So we can apply 8.8 kilonewton load if we want our bearing to work for 6,000 hours, right? Under the given conditions. Now let's take the second problem. The self-aligning bearing is required to run for 5 years, for 300 working days per year and 8 hours per day, right? So this is the time duration is given. So L is given in terms of like this: 5 years, 300 days, okay? And every day it is going to work 8 hours per day, right? So we have to convert this into revolutions, right? Now the inner race of the bearing was at 100 RPM. That means the bearing does rotate, but the outer recess is fixed, or outer ring is fixed. The inner ring is rotate. It rotated at the RPM of 100 RPM. Value of rotation is 100 RPM. Determine the basic dynamic capacity. We have to find the C. Okay, we have to find the C. The P is given. The equivalent load is 6 kilonewton. We are applying how much? 6 kilonewton load. Okay, so very simple. This equation we have to find out. So L10 we are going to tell is 10:6. That is known to us. It's a standard theoretical value. Any bearing, any anti-friction bearing must survive 10:6 revolution. It is expected life, theoretical life, right? So let's convert this. So how can we convert this? Very simple. Anybody? So 300 days per year. Okay, so multiply by 5 years. So year will be cancelled out. So this much will be the days. So 5 साल में 1500, 5 साल के हिसाब से गिने 300 days per year. So what will be the days? 1500s, right? Multiply by how many hours per day? 8 hours per day, right? So that going to give you 120.00. So this much hours bearing rotates. Okay, bearing has to rotate. अब revolution कितना है? RPM कितना है? 100 RPM है. So we have to multiply by hours into minutes and multiply by 100. So these are the revolution a bearing going to rotate in 5 years, right? So it's a huge number. You can say it is a huge number. So I can put it in a simple way. 72 10⁶. Revolution it is going to complete in 5 years. Okay. So हम चाहते हैं कि हमारी बेरिंग इतना रेवोल्यूशन कंप्लीट करे 5 साल में, कंटिन्यूसली हम नहीं गिन रहे हैं. हर दिन कितने घंटे काम करेगी बेरिंग? 8 आवर्स पर डे. साल में कितने दिन बेरिंग घूमेगी? 300 दिन. बाकी के दिन छुट्टी. कितने साल तक चलनी चाहिए? 5 years. So how many revolution in total combined it will be? So these are the combined values of the rotations. Okay. So now let's use the equations to find out the solution. Okay. So here same C by P, L10 and 1 by K. So here we have to find out the C. The load rating capacity is given, equivalent capacity is given 6,000. Okay. Now L is 72 10⁶ that we calculated over here. Okay. Please correct me if there is some error. Okay. Now we are going to take L10 as a standard value 10⁶, and we are going to take 1 by 3. Okay. So cancel out this and find out the cube root of 72. and find the value C. So C will be 2496 Newton. Okay. So 2496 will be your basic dynamic load capacity. Okay. We are applying equivalent load of 6000 in actual practice. What will be the dynamic capacity? Under the static condition, what will be the maximum load can be applied on that bearing is this much. Okay. Under the working condition, you can apply higher value. Okay. So this is how you can correlate the theoretical value or the actual expected service life by using these equations.